in the ice carving lab up at school, we have a drain right in the floor, which is awesome. The restaurant is right underneath it, so all this banging around with the ice blocks sometimes makes a lot of noise. So, like I said, I have 2 carvings for Friday and Saturday. I have 1 carving Friday, 1 carving Saturday. So you, tonight. And my son, who actually took the ice carving, I made him take the ice carving class, and then he was a graduate of your school here. He took welding. So he took welding, and he went down to Cleveland and got a 1-year degree down there in the trade. So welding from here, welding down there. Now he's doing fine arts, he's carving ice, he's cooking. So he's acquiring all these skills. So I wonder what kind of business he's going to have later on in his life. Anybody know what Tai Chi is? The art form Tai Chi? So as my students are learning how to do this and keep this nice and flat, I tell them it's like Tai Chi, when you got to keep your body level equal with the floor. So you're moving this back and forth with your body. I'm holding my arms kind of still and moving my body more. I'm rocking my body. And what happens is when they start, no lie, I like Tai Chi, I like dance, I like theater, and all those skills that I learned, I took theater classes, and Gene Kelly, if you probably don't know him, dancer back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and I watched this stuff. So all these skills that I acquired over the years, I actually put into the ice. And I tell this to the students, they laugh at me, I think it's silly too, what I talk about. But at the same time, I show them that. One of the first things they do when they're doing the sanding, they move their arms. As you move your arms, you're doing this. Once you do that, you start getting a bow in here. Okay, so that's the reason why I talk about keeping your body level with the floor. So then you take this, and I have a heat station at my house, and these are usually on the heat station. Right now you see this, right, it's melting. This is just room temperature. This is your baking press. You guys have baking presses maybe?
No, not.
I know, I acquired this from Emerson Commons, downtown Buffalo. So I saw that they had tons of these. And I go, why do you have tons? They used to do bacon, they used to press their bacon all the time, right? At Emerson. So I said, can I get a couple of those? They go, yeah, we're not using them any longer. So I took them, and then my brother-in-law works at a machine shop doing automotive restoration and stuff in North Tonawanda. He took them to the machine shop and ground them down. Usually these are kind of like, have patterns in them, so he ground them down. So I use this to flatten this out. So I want to put a slab of ice on here for seafood, and then a number 50 on top of it on Saturday night. You probably know what this is, right, Megan?
I've seen a few of them.
Right, Megan.
So this, my wife is always looking for the cake circle. And she goes, where is the cake circle? You have it out in the garage, don't you? You go, yep. So this is just a cake circle,
Unreal.
and again, aluminum,
Really
and
does a
it
lot.
retains the heat for a while.
Wow.
It's like amazing, isn't it? So when it's on the heat stations, it works even better. So you have all this going on, and the investment of my time, and then the investment of money in equipment and upkeep on this equipment. So years ago, I got cheaper chainsaws, now I get the better chainsaws. You know, I get, years ago, I used to buy Harbor Freight angle grinders, which actually break down within about a year and a half, but I would always return them and say, this is broken, give me another one, so I would do it all the time. And so now I buy Makita, which is a better quality, and battery operated is always nice for like jobs like this today, doing demonstrations. Okay, so it looks kind of rough, and as you see this white on top, so what happens is when the water isn't circulating, you get the white in there, okay? So it's oxygen bubbles. So when you look at those pictures, you see the color in them. So I engrave in, and then I pour in gelatin, colored gelatin, from either backside or front side, or sometimes when you saw the white in the pictures, that was just water in the engraving itself. I would just pour some water in there, thin layers. It would trap the oxygen bubble up against the clear ice, which is like that, and then it gives the opaque color, and it's just oxygen. So it's kind of like just learning all this stuff over the years, again, and refining it. I'm still refining it. So if this is 2 3/4, and I'm scoring it here, and I go in, so makes me think of, okay, do I want to cut on this side of the line or that side of the line? Because I'm going to take away a 1/4 inch somewhere here, right, with the saw. Score the front.
Yeah, go Joe.
Nice carburetor. Same thing. So at home, stay with it. As my son helps me, this is mine. I left this here last time. I swear.
found that
I left this. She's my audience. Sabrina's my audience.
John, you have about 40 minutes left.
Okay. So now I'm gonna keep on turning. So at home I have my son helping me. So someone will be turning this. Go ahead, score. And I go like this. Okay, got it all scored. Now I want to cut out this middle here. I want to make it like, I call it an I-column pedestal. So I want to make this top and this bottom more elegant, and then this is going to be rough. With that being said, you want contrast. Your chef instructors talk about contrast, right? Food, contrast, colors, contrast, taste, flavor, texture, contrast. So when you have something rough against something elegant, you see a contrast, okay? So when you see this, you'll understand.
Hey Gwen, how you feeling?
I'm gonna have you stand on that side, and you're gonna turn whenever so as I have my workers, and I go, these are international signs. Turn, 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 okay? So, you'll get the gist in a second.
And you'll get a
No? That was one more time. All right.
Oh.
You're trying to get what?
We're gonna flip it down. Right, down. I'm gonna curve here, and then I'm gonna go like this, and you're gonna turn it around, so that's gonna face me. Let's go. These are safety glasses, just so you know. Those are safety glasses here. You put those. Are those safety glasses? You can put those. Can you see?
Are you able to see
Okay.
out of your
I'm gonna take a
eyes?
little bit, actually, you know what?
Oh,
Just push it a little bit more. Perfect. All right, so these are the old chisels. We still use them. They work fine for different reasons, different times.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of funny to watch when the students start using these. They're really apprehensive at first. You know, they're really like being careful. All right.
Oh. Sounds like working glass.
We were just, Chef Marinelli and I were talking about carving ice earlier. And did you carve ice with George
I started,
O'Brien?
with him, and then
Yeah.
I did it at the height a little bit, but just like at the height, I started with baskets and eggs. I don't
Yeah.
know why they start with baskets,
They, so George Opolonic pretty much retired now, but he's influenced plenty of people in ice over the years. He was I don't know if he's a master chef or,
but certified, yeah. He,
so he's inspired plenty of people throughout the whole United States. You know, Johnson and Wales, of course, is, you know, well known to a lot of people.
we had a club, which was nice, because we had.
Yeah, you guys had a culinary club. So, like, the CIA carves ice with a club, but they don't have a class, technically. So you just kind of get together and carve some ice. So what I was saying earlier is, like, I gotta make sure that people are trained here locally, and hopefully, you know, we don't lose the inspiration of doing ice. And there's some chefs that go, I don't want to carve ice. It's so, like, they're busy enough. You know, being an executive chef nowadays, you got your food cost, labor cost. You know, you're constantly doing stuff. I mean, if you don't have chef de cuisines or sous chefs, and you're the executive chef, and then you're chef de cuisine also, meaning you're in charge of all the cuisine. You know, you don't have time for ice. So I took advantage of seeing that. I took advantage of seeing that the people, you know, need to subcontract this stuff out. And so when I saw that this was happening, I just said, you know, I might as well make it a business. You know, I love cooking, but I think this is fun. So at times,
Fancy.
this is my, you know, kind of get away from the cooking stuff. Then I get sick and tired of ice. You know, sometimes I go out to eat a lot. That's why we need you guys in these facilities trained properly, so you can, you know, have some really nice food in your local areas. You don't wanna miss out on, you know, having some bad cuisine and or
How long do you temper your ice
per
before you start?
capita. I think Grand Island has more pizzerias per capita than any other town in America.
How long do you temper the ice before you start?
The question is how long I temper. So you see this glistening now, right? I took this out this morning, had it in my car. I think I put it in at 7:30. So the smaller the ice,
Right.
the least amount of time. So usually, with a full block of ice this big, I would say 2.5, 3 hours, depending on the temperature. And again, you don't want to take it and unbox it right away. You want to keep it in the box for 2.5, 3 hours, then unbox it, and then another half an hour, depending on the temperature zone that you're at. My house, the face of my house, the sun comes up to paint that or sculpt that or something. So as I do this, and then I fuse them on. So this is great. I scare Sabrina with this all the time.
How else do you fall down the stairs?
So if she's walking by me, I have this on my side and I'll do this and she gets all scared. But now, as you see this, and I put the block of ice here and I fuse it on. What happens, and I'm going to show you in an example, is it cracks too. So here, it's just your keyboard duster, right? You guys can't buy this because you have to be 18 years old. You know why? Some knuckleheads actually did that up their nose thinking they're doing whippets, the old-fashioned whippets from the cans, and they did this. 2 kids, kid froze his nose, suffocated himself.
Oh no.
This freezes. This is like a Freon.
Use that in chocolate too. Like if
Yeah.
you're putting 2 pieces together and they're both in temper, you don't want to hold those 2 pieces together until they, you know, set. You're gonna melt them. You're gonna get fingerprints. So you hold them for a second, hit that to it, and then they, you know, set up a little faster.
So now, you see what happens. Well, I can use this for texture down too. So doesn't that look mosaic? You know, like cracked,
Yeah.
like stone and stuff? And again, I'm keeping this clean and elegant. This looks like this part's probably gonna be the bottom. And then you see the contrast between this and this.
Yeah. Let's get my cake round out.
Chef Marinelli and I used to, I know Chef Megan would do the same thing, is we'd have to go to career fairs. Remember all those career fairs with Chef Mr.
Yep.
Popovich?
Yep.
Oh my God. So I would
like
lug
you sign up for
all
another
this stuff
class.
around all the time, like once a month,
Oh,
wasn't it?
God.
Like lugging the ice around. It was fun to do, and I think there's some pictures in the books that of me at one of the Buffalo sites, you know, doing a.
Well, once they
Eagle.
find out what skill you have, they're like,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
that's
Oh, yeah.
happening.
If they find out that you're a cook and chef, they go, okay, you're in charge of all the food.
Oh, yeah.
I got out of doing the food because I did this.
Okay,
But
that's
in the
good.
same respect, I had to lug around
Then you
the ice
gotta
all
do
the
this.
time. I think I used to buy ice for me.
Oh.
So I used to I was able to cut the ice at a point that I only used half of it.
Yeah.
And then the other half I used to buy the ice. The reason why I bought my own block maker is ice was getting so high, it was like $100. At the point where I bought my own block maker, it was $100. So I put it into perspective. I go, okay, I get 10 blocks of ice at a time at $100 a pop, or 90 would be $900.